From mini dinosaurs to ancient mummies, here are 8 strange things from the desert. 8. Thorny Devil. The Thorny Devil, also known as the Mountain Devil, Thorny Dragon, Thorny Lizard, and Moloch, typically inhabits the dusty barren desert that covers the majority of Central Australia. This lizard has a very distinctive look. Spikes and scales cover the top of their body, which helps it to defend itself from would-be predators. It also has a spiny, false head located on the back of its neck, made of soft tissue which it shows off while hiding its real head between its forelegs to confuse predators. Their spikes and scales are multicolored, red, grey, brown, and tan, and they serve a specific purpose: to dissuade other creatures that may want to eat them. What kind of animal wants to swallow a lizard covered in spikes? That can't feel good. They can fill their chest with air, puffing up. Another great reason not to make this lizard a snack. They are also able to change colors to blend in with the shades of the desert. This color-changing mechanism can only occur when a number of factors are in their favor, including time of day, weather, and actual location. Their unique look means they are sometimes mistaken for twigs by unsuspecting birds, and their long tail sometimes comes in handy, with the animal using it as an extra leg when attacked, placing it against the ground to prevent predators from flipping them over. They're not very big, only reaching about 8 inches or 20 centimeters long and weighing 70 to 95 grams or 2.5 to 3.4 ounces. Their diet consists strictly of only ants, a lot of ants, 3,000 at a time sometimes, capturing them with their sticky tongues. Another fun fact, they can drink water through their feet. They have tiny channels and microgrooves on their skin, which enables them to gather water and for it to flow without having to use their mouths. They'll often walk through dewy areas or just wait for it to rain and allow the rain to drip onto their backs, which is channeled through right into their mouths. 7. The Camel Spider. Camel spiders are nightmare creatures that have absolutely no business existing anywhere in the universe. This disgusting spider is a freakish mix between a scorpion and a spider, with a massive pair of fangs that it uses to bite unsuspecting victims and lounge around in the desert making really horrible noises. Be warned, camel spiders are known to hide in people's shadows to escape the brutal heat of the desert. You better hope it doesn't get hungry. At 6 inches or 15 centimeters in size, the camel spider is about the size of a teacup. But regardless of how big it is, the spider lives in the deserts of Iraq, and you would never see one coming at you through the sand. Especially since camel spiders run at a top speed of 10 miles or 16 km per hour, according to National Geographic. How fast can you run? Because I doubt you can outrun a marauding camel spider as it streaks across the desert sands. But don't worry, they are not venomous to humans. These spiders don't even like eating people, contrary to the myths of camel spiders eating soldiers while they slept during the war. They would much rather snack on some rodents, lizards, or small birds. In fact, this arachnid has massively strong jaws that are sometimes a whole third of its body length. 6. Chinchorro Mummies. While you might be familiar with the mummies from ancient Egypt, you might be surprised to know that other cultures also had mummies. But where the ancient Egyptians embalmed their dead, other cultures didn't, instead allowing them to mummify naturally. The Chinchorro people of Chile are one such culture whose dry climate naturally preserved corpses. It wasn't uncommon for the Chinchorro to mummify their dead, leaving them in the sand to naturally desiccate or dry out. Known to have lived in fishing villages along the coast of Chile and Peru, the Chinchorro actually started mummifying thousands of years before the Egyptians did. But how did they start this strange practice? Some researchers think the Chinchorro people may have adopted the ritual due to environmental changes, with the Atacama Desert playing an integral role in the culture's traditions. Interestingly, the Chinchorro actually had 5 different styles of mummification, with the black and red mummies being the most common. But why did they use so many different techniques? And how did they differ? The black mummies were made by taking apart the body of the deceased, treating it, and then reassembling it. Red mummies were made in a similar way to those found in ancient Egypt by making incisions on the body to remove the organs and then drying out the body cavity. Afterward, both styles of mummy were filled with sticks and reeds, adorned with a wig and a clay mask placed on their faces. Sadly, even though these mummies have survived for thousands of years, climate change is putting them at risk. Some of the mummies being held at museums have started to deteriorate, with some even turning into a black ooze as a result of bacteria on the mummies. As conservators try to find the right combination of humidity and temperature, we can only hope they are able to preserve these mummies as a lasting legacy to the Chinchorro people. 5. Mini dinosaur. Deep in the deserts of the United Arab Emirates lives a spiny-tailed reptile known as the dub lizard. It is also known as the Samakat al-Sara, which means fish of the desert, or the dragon or little dinosaur of the desert. They're also sometimes referred to as little dinosaurs. The size of these lizards varies depending on how much they eat, with some coming in around 2 feet or 0.6 meters long. They can be dark or light gray with spots and stripes on their backs. They have a slow metabolism that allows them to go for weeks at a time without food. Lucky them! The species is actually a bit of a mystery to researchers, as they tend to hide out in burrows. They have also been known to sunbathe, lying motionless on their backs and making them look very much dead until they wriggle away and bolt back into their dens. The dub usually isn't one to fight that often, but when they do, they hiss and swing around their muscular tail and expose their teeth to scare off would-be attackers. The discovery of a bone dump with the remains of 145 lizard skeletons near an oasis site in the Saudi Arabian desert points to evidence that ancient people once ate these lizards. Part of a mosque complex, Al-Yamama, which was occupied from the 2nd century BC to the 1800s, also had layers of camel and goat bones. The find shows that the desert-dwelling nomads had been eating animals, including these mini dinosaurs, for at least 2,000 years. 4. The Flic-Flac Spider. Researchers working in the Moroccan desert were a little surprised when they stumbled upon a spider that was able to propel itself off the ground and cartwheel up and down hills. Sabrenus reichenbergi, or the Flic-Flac spider, has a variety of gymnastic moves that allows it to do handsprings and somersaults to skitter across sand dunes. Using this escape maneuver allows the spider to move at a whopping 6 feet or 1.8 meters per second, which is not bad for such a small arachnid. The spider is nocturnal, feeding on moths before sunrise. The Flic-Flac is relatively small, with both male and female bodies measuring no more than 3/4 of an inch. It is a member of the huntsman spider family, but the Flic-Flac spider differs from another similar spider, the golden wheel spider, who can only cartwheel down sand dunes, but not go up. In both cases, the spider performs these maneuvers when they feel threatened. But even though this move might seem like it would get the spider out of sticky situations, it can still be dangerous to the spider itself. If they have to perform these maneuvers too many times, the spider can die of exhaustion. When it's not cartwheeling away from a predator, the Flic-Flac spider will walk, just like its less gymnastic cousins. Just as bizarre as the Flic-Flac's escape method are the tube-shaped homes it builds. They take sand, mix it together with their spider silk, and they build burrows in the sand dunes that protect them from the scorching heat during the day, as well as predators. 3. Chupacabra or Bigfoot. A strange-looking beast was captured on video in Portugal, and it has some people thinking it could be actual footage of the mythical Chupacabra. The video shows a strange, human-like creature pacing through the desert for a few seconds before disappearing behind a bush. The footage first surfaced in 2016. It's a little grainy and filmed at a distance, but it zooms in on the slowly moving creature. The tall being has a stooped posture and plods slowly without showing any signs that it knows it's being filmed. But could it really be evidence of the infamous goatsucker talked about in Central and South American legend? The Chupacabra is well known in Latin American cultures. It's often the culprit farmers blame when they find their goats and cattle with their blood drained. Reports of the strange animal first started in the 1990s when sightings of the creature, which was said to be about 5 feet or 1.5 meters tall, with spikes down its back and long claws surfaced. But the first sighting took place in Puerto Rico when a local woman spotted what she thought was an alien-like creature out her window. So how could this footage from Portugal be the same type of creature? The original story spread across Puerto Rico, then traveled to Latin America and into the United States. Even as UFO enthusiasts latched onto the story, it took on a life of its own, and now it seems to have jumped to Portugal, where this new footage surfaced. Either way, stories of this kind are not only bizarre, but they seem to spread far and wide, taking on a life of their own. 2. Pterodactyl Fossil. The discovery of a 210 million-year-old dinosaur in the Utah desert was quite impressive on its own. But as scientists did further research, they believed it may have been the first flying vertebrate on Earth. The discovery of these new fossilized remains would push the timeline of flying vertebrates back by 65 million years to the Triassic period. The pterodactyl was a very strange creature with a pelican-like pouch. It had massive fangs and a wingspan of 5 feet or 1.2 meters. Was it a bird? Was it a dinosaur? It was actually neither, but it lived at the same time as the dinosaurs. The specimen found in Utah was remarkably well preserved, with a nearly intact skull, including brain case, the lower jaws, and part of a wing. It was also much larger than other pterosaurs that existed around the same time. Before this discovery, there were only 30 known fossilized remains of Triassic pterodactyls, with nothing more than a single bone. And they were always found in the Alps, never in the desert. Scientists now think they were more widely distributed around the planet and in more varied environments than originally thought. Number 1. Whale Graveyard. A trove of 40 fossilized whale skeletons were found next to the Pan-American Highway when excavations were being performed to expand the highway through the Atacama Desert in Chile. It's believed to be the richest treasure trove of fossil marine mammals ever found. The find included the bones of whales, dolphins, seals, large fish similar to swordfish, and an extinct species of aquatic sloths that were believed to have lived from 6 to 9 million years ago. Initial explanations pointed to a mass stranding. When whales die, they usually rest on the seabed, but after analyzing the conditions, orientation, and position of the bones, the animals are believed to have died at sea, later washing ashore. Pointing to harmful algae blooms, the animals would have suddenly died from ingesting the toxins, becoming buried in the tidal flat. It isn't an uncommon occurrence. Even modern marine animals suffer the same fate. But, remarkably, researchers believe the same thing happened more than once, with the remains found in 4 different layers. Over time, the bones were covered by tectonic plates that pushed the shoreline up, later transforming into a desert about a half-mile from the modern-day coastline.